Before we get to my week 8 picks, thank you to Ascent Nutrition and their organic mold and mycotoxin free coffee. It's great. It'll perk you up in the morning. Get yourself a bag today. Visit goascentnutrition.com. Use the link in the description below and use that code Hawkeyes for 15% off your total order. So we'll get to Iowa and Ohio State here in a couple of minutes. But first, we start off for my week 8 picks in the Pac-12. Oregon and UCLA, the Bruins, a surprise undefeated team now in the top 10. I like the Ducks at home. They are 6.5-point favorites. I like the Ducks at home to win, and I think they'll cover. I think the Ducks win by 10 to 12 points and shock the Bruins. Syracuse and Clemson, Death Valley for the Orange, a trip to Death Valley for the Orange. I like Clemson straight up. I like Syracuse against the 13.5. Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss, another kind of a surprise undefeated team, but yet LSU's favored by 2.5. I like Ole Miss in this game. I like them straight up and, of course, to cover the number. Texas and Oklahoma State. Texas, the favorites against a team with a better record in Okie State. I like Oklahoma State to win this game and, of course, to cover the number. Texas, 6.5-point favorites. Mississippi State and Alabama. The Crimson Tide trying to bounce back from that crushing loss to Tennessee. Bama 21-point favorites. I'm going to fall for this. I've got Mississippi State covering. I've got Bama winning. Penn State and Minnesota. The Nittany Lions 4-point favorites at home against the Gophers. I like the Nittany Lions to win this game. I like them to cover the number. Adrian Martinez and the Wildcats, Kansas State, taking on TCU. Another surprise team in the Big 12. The Horned Frogs, 6-0, and I like them to be 7-0. They win this game and they cover the number. They are 3.5-point favorites. Texas A&M and South Carolina, the Aggies and the Gamecocks. I like A&M to go into Columbia and win this game, and I believe they win it convincingly. A&M covers the number. They're 3-point favorites on the road. Purdue and Wisconsin, the Boilermakers on the road in Madison. Can Wisconsin figure out how to play defense again? This has been a weird spell for them. Even since Jim Leonhard has taken over, they struggled to stop Michigan State. I like Purdue to win this game. I think they'll cover the number. Wisconsin, 2.5-point favorites against a Purdue team that has looked much better, but that's the power of home field advantage up in Madison. But I like the Boilermakers to win this game. West Virginia and Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, 6.5-point favorites. I think they win. I think they cover. Mountaineers didn't have JT Daniels. They would be terrible. That's not a very good football team right now. I like Texas Tech to win this game and to win by at least a touchdown and a PAT. Duke and Miami. Miami, 9.5-point favorites against Duke. I like Miami to find a way to win this game, but I think the Blue Devils cover. Miami, very underwhelming this year. People kind of had them as a trendy pick in the ACC. Boy, they are struggling to stay above 500, very similar to Iowa. All right, and finally, the game many of you came here to see me pick, Iowa and Ohio State. The last time these two teams faced off was in 2017. Iowa won that game 55-24 in Kinnick, behind Nate Stanley, Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson, James Daniels, Tristan Wirfs, Alaric Jackson, Josh Jackson, Amani Hooker. All those guys are NFL guys. And I didn't even mention Akram Wadley, right? I don't think I mentioned him. He's not in the NFL, but he was a playmaker in that game as well. James Butler was a Nevada transfer that was in that game. They had so many playmakers that we didn't realize were future NFL guys. Although I think we knew Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson were. They don't have the playmakers this year. Besides Sam Laporta, who on that offense is a future NFLer? Think about it. Maybe Luke Lachey at tight end, maybe. But, I mean, Sam Laporta is. Is there anybody on that offensive line that you anticipate being an NFL draft pick in the future? Maybe Mason Richmond, maybe Connor Colby with a couple more years of development. That's possible. There's no wideouts that you look at and say, wow, those guys are future pros. I mean, that's the difference as far as talent is concerned. Now, maybe Caleb Johnson develops into an NFL back, but that's a long ways off. Iowa simply does not have the firepower to even make this close. Ohio State wins this game 30-9. 21-point win for the Buckeyes. I could see Iowa hanging around. The only way they win this game, and I mentioned this on my preview earlier this week, the only way Iowa wins this game is that they can get to +3 or +4 on turnovers. +5 would be great, right? I don't believe that's going to happen. At 30-9, maybe Iowa hangs around until the fourth quarter. That's possible. The defense Never underestimate Phil Parker's guys. I could see it being 20-9 entering the fourth. And if it's 20-9, you could feasibly say, hey, we're down 11 points. Game's not over. But I think Ohio State pulls away in the end. 30-9, the final score. The Hawkeyes fall on the road and fall to 3-4. Of course, following the game on Saturday, it's me and you live, Iowa post-game, recapping the Hawkeyes and the Buckeyes. The game, of course, starting at 11 a.m. Central Time on Fox for big noon kickoff so the whole world can see Iowa and Ohio State, and we'll talk to you following the game.